welcome back to A City Planner Plays, where we are building the city of Verde Beach. And in the previous episode, there were a few things that I wanted to improve that I think were misses on my behalf. So I sandbox episodes. Really, I'm multiple episodes ahead in my sandbox version of the city. And in my sandbox version of the city, this is an agricultural area. To try to spark some demand, I built some industrial in this area, but it's general industrial, and that's not what I was planning on. So we are going to modify that today, but I do need to take care of the burning downtown. So interestingly, people noticed this in the comments for the previous video that there were fires in the downtown area. So this is a new one. I didn't even notice this one until I loaded into the save, but we've got downtown burning. So that's a problem. We've also had a fire in the zoo. Thankfully, it looks like most of the damage was resolved. Animals are sitting in their treeless pens, living their dream. But we didn't have such a rosy outcome in our nature reserve. Interestingly, I'm not 100% sure when everything was destroyed here, because truthfully it looks okay. So I'm going to take a moment and rebuild our campsites at the nature reserve. Okay, so we are good here now. And that was honestly a little bit tedious, but that's part of the Natural Disasters DLC. Now this is a bit more concerning, and this makes me wonder about my fire coverage generally in this area. And you can see it's okay. Not great, but maybe part of the issue that we've been having is that there's just not great fire coverage in this area. Maybe it's time to take this small firehouse and upgrade it to a fire station. So we're going to use eminent domain and take some of those stores that were there, but I think it's well worth it to protect all of this, all of the things that are burning down so rapidly in this area. So hopefully this will prevent this from being a rager of a fire, though I'm not fully convinced. Hopefully we can save the high school. We'll see. All right, so back to this area. So I think I'm going to evict everyone here and call the mulligan. This is going to still remain an industrial area. We're going to let this clear out. In the meantime, there has been an issue that has been brought up multiple times in the comments, and that is a strong dislike for the fact that I am pulling water downstream from this dirty industrial area. And I get that. That's a concern. The issue is there's not really a good place for me to put this, short of building a road just a little further up. So I might actually do that. And I'm going to have to be really cognizant in the future of where I'm actually placing these dirty industries, because I want to make sure that the water stays downstream from all of this pollution. So let's relocate these. I'm going to pause this because I'm going to disconnect everything over here. Okay, so hopefully that resolves everyone's concerns about the location of the water intakes. They are now upstream from all of this pollution. And that makes sense. I mean, look at these trees are struggling in this area. The ground is purple. Not exactly the place that you'd want to be pulling water. So, speaking of purple, we now have this industrial area with highly polluted soil. This will resolve over time, but we're going to have to honestly just kind of let it sit. So for the time being, let's get started on this agriculture area. So I'm going to put all my snap tubes back on and get started. And what I think I might do, I'm going to extend this up. Let's look at our topography. Yeah, we're going to want to turn this collector We will respect our topography and try not to get too crazy. So I'll soften the edges up a bit, but that's much more respectful of the topography than the road as it was sitting before. So I think this is much better. So from here you might be wondering, why am I doing this? So the idea I have is to basically work the farms this way and have some of the processing facilities over here for flour and things of that nature. I'm going to use dirt roads as kind of the division between the two types of farms that I want in this area. I understand I was probably being a little too picky with that road, but that's who I am. So, all right, let's start thinking about our farming industry. So all of this land is excellent for farming. So I think we're going to start out, we'll place a farm building here. Actually, let's center this a little bit more. We'll have two across from each other. Whoops, and let's actually use the industry area tool. We'll paint that here. Now, interestingly, you can see that some of the most fertile land is actually a little bit over, so I might move this just slightly. So over here, I'm going to have mostly, mostly farm fields, crop fields. I might do some fruit trees, and on the other side, in this area, the Myrtle Estate, we're going to have animal pastures and things of that nature. So I think they're different types of farms. I know that they will often mix, but for the purpose of this build, I kind of want them to be separate ranches. I actually might upgrade this road that the farms are on and use dirt roads kind of throughout the build. So lots of hyper-realistic moving of farms. All right, so we've got that. And let's use some dirt roads. We're going to come up with kind of a farm layout in this area. All right, so let's start placing some of our animal pens and our animal pastures, not pens, over in this area. And you know what? I'm just not, again, loving the way this is working, partially because I have this curved road in here. So I'm gonna call a mulligan on that road, and we'll straighten this out. Okay, multiple problems, and these are all related to utilities right now. Let's get utilities extended into this area. All right, so we have that, and that will help us get this area established. I'm gonna run power down here for now, because now we want to start thinking about this area over here and how that's gonna lay out. So again, I'm going to create a junction here, and then we'll start laying out some of our other crop fields. I think I'll do some orchards over on the other side of the road. Just for the time being, so this gets going, I am going to make a connection. Also get some water over to these crop fields. Okay, so we've got this at least moving a little bit. Not enough raw materials. They need crops, which means that we're going to need some silos. So let's get going on some silos too. We'll keep that balanced. So we'll get that moving. All right, good enough for now. I do want to take a look at these. So yeah, we can do some potatoes for the time being. Why don't we line the other side as well? Kind of mirror that. And here, let's have some wheat. Actually, I'm going to change this. I think cotton would probably be a little more suitable to this area, this landscape that we have in Verde Beach. So I kind of know where this road's going to go, so I figured I'd just place the utilities in that area. So we are set there. So on this side, I hate that it's probably, if this fits Yeah, it'll front the collector. I would really prefer to not do that. The layout just happens to work for that, so I might do a few over here. Then obviously we can't place this one because of our city limits. We'll set some of these to citrus again. Seems like the right kind of area for it based on the weather, so that looks nice. All right, so we need to take a look at our industry area to make sure that we are able to actually store all of the product that we're producing. So that's going to be really important. And right now, let's see, we're producing 52 tons of products, 66 tons of products. We're doing okay with storage. I'm going to do my best to not have too much storage. Now for animal products, we're going to need a barn. Actually, as I say that, I don't know that it's a barn. I think it might be actually a warehouse that we need. So let's start thinking about what we're going to need in this new area. So we're going to need processing of all of the animal products that we're going to be producing. So yeah, we can put our animal products over here. No need for that power line anymore. So I want to immediately start thinking about processing all of these products into something more valuable. So when we're doing that, so let's look at some of the factories that we have. So printing press, not going to work. Soft paper factory, not going to work. Modular house, not going to work. So at this point, we just might be waiting to level up a bit. And you know, it might be nice to mirror what's happening with these animal fields across the road. And again, I'll have to be super reasonable about this and move everything. Those are very, very obedient cows. So we have cows over there. Let's have some pigs on the other side. All right, so again, our limiting factor is going to be our crop output. We now have level 2 over here, so that's nice. I want to improve logistics in both of these, and we'll improve safety. So not enough raw materials, crops being the limiting factor. Let's go ahead, we'll put a small barn here. And we'll set this one to empty. So I want these crops that go across here empty directly into this area. So while we're doing this, I noticed that I'm changing some of the junctions and making problems. So let's fix these. We don't need signalized intersections all over. In fact, I might remove these ones. I'm not overly excited about those. I'd rather have those over here if I'm going to have them. Now that I'm looking, so I moved this junction into a place that I don't necessarily love. So let's try to minimize our crossings. It's really important to do that, because then we're minimizing our signals, the number of signals that we have. Now the junction's a little bit further apart, and knowing that this doesn't need to be signalized, local road going into local road, I can make that slight change here. Okay, much better. So since Hamilton Plantation is a level 2, let's see what we can do now. So we can build a flour mill. So I absolutely want a flour mill, but you have to build that in the industry area. So what I'm going to do is actually pull down this industry area and do something funky. So now it's a split industry area, and we can have this flour mill over here. So the other thing that I want to go along with this is going to be a warehouse to store some, or actually not a warehouse. I'll want a barn over here too, or a silo or something like that. I might do a silo. I think it fits a little better. I'm kind of concerned about the location though. I don't want to take one of these whole blocks and make it unusable. So I might need to change this in the future. I think I might place this here for now. Again, set that to empty. And now we're going to also need some warehouses. You know what? I placed this wrong. So they'll have to drive around the block. I don't love that. Okay. So we'll do this. We will store flour here, not animal products. And now, let's see what else we have. We have the ability to place a cattle shed, which is a ventilated building used to raise cattle. Okay, so the cattle shed takes in crops. That's just another, interesting. So it's not actually any different in what it's doing to these animal pastures. So we'll have that over there. It's more of a looks thing, it seems, than anything else. So it gives you a different appearance, but nothing beyond that. All right, so Hamilton Plantation is really doing well at this point. So we are going to up the ante there. Let's see how we're doing here at the flour mill. Producing flour. Very good. We have flour here. What do we have next? Now we have a milking parlor. So we definitely would want to get that. Again, this acts like another... It's kind of acting the same as the pastures. So more of an aesthetics thing than anything else. Okay. But for our farms, now we have a couple different buildings. We have workers' barracks, so I think we absolutely want to start thinking about those. Common misconception with these buildings, and one that I had, was that they actually are a farm residence. They are not. They are a place that basically, from my understanding, it's kind of just a place where your workers could go, maybe have lunch, clean up. It improves their efficiency. That's all it does. And the more that you have, the more efficiency that you have. So I've only placed one at this farm. So work efficiency, 105%. Place two over here, 110. So it could certainly boost the efficiency by having more barracks throughout the area. So we're losing money here. We're making money over here. And we need more storage for our crops. Place a barn over here and they can bring the crops right in. Alright, so next up. So at this point I could start putting in some bigger fields if that's the route I want to go. I do think I'd like to do that. Unfortunately, it's not going to fit for the fruit fields just yet. But I will put some medium crop fields in. Now I'm just curious. Does this produce... Let's see the production rate. 9,520. 5,712. So I don't know why you would use these medium crop fields. Oh, it's the workers. I don't have enough workers. Alright. So these will probably produce more once I have adequate employment. So I'm going to keep an eye on those because I'm curious. Corn over here. Now, one thing I've noticed is that the land is cleared up over here, which is nice. So the milking parlor, it seems like the land over here is degrading a bit. So I'm curious. Yes, it produces pollution. Interesting. Very interesting. So I guess that's something to keep in mind, that these two buildings are going to produce, the cattle shed and the milking parlor are going to produce pollution. Let's see about... Well, yeah, interesting. I honestly don't know why you would choose these buildings, except that I guess their production rates are higher. Yeah, the milking parlor is significantly higher. So in a constrained space, you could have a bunch of milking parlors and really do a lot more than you could with a pasture. I guess that's why you would choose it. Now, these medium crop fields, I'm still flabbergasted by why you would choose these, because the production rate is lower. That said, it's still not at max worker. It's not at max employment. I'm curious. Let's take a look at the city statistics. See how we had a little bit of a death wave, it looks like. Yeah. Birth rate dropped. At the same time, our death rate grew. Employment percentage. Not great. That's not good at all. So that would certainly have an impact on our on our need for residential, as was hypothesized by many in the comments. Let's come back over here, take a look. Looks like the fire, we've recovered from it, and we've had another fire. So, just a fire-loving city. Or there's a ton of arsonists, not sure which one. So, while this is leveling up, I do think it would be valuable to start thinking about replacing the general industrial that we took away. And this is the most logical place for it in my mind. Okay, so I'm going to turn this area into a little industrial area and hopefully eat up some of that demand that we've had. Now we just relocated our water, so I want to be aware of that and make sure that I'm not creating a new issue with our water. So that's why I haven't brought this any closer to the shore. Now this will probably spur the need for another interchange onto the highway, and truthfully, maybe that should have been right here, but I think we could probably get one down here down the line if absolutely necessary. And truthfully, we don't really have any collectors in this area, so that's another concern that I have, but not one that I'm going to do anything about right now. So I do think that there is value in providing some connectivity through here, though, even if we aren't going to zone up in this area. The other thing, I think I'm going to use the Industry 4.0 policy. I'm thinking about it anyway. I'm not 100% sold on it being the right choice just yet. I don't know that until we have a better university system that it makes a ton of sense. I think that might be something that we do in the future. So I could pepper in industrial uses through here, but I think I'm going to leave that for future utility expansion. It's certainly going to be a need in the future. Okay, so now we've at least provided a couple outlets down here, ways to get into this district. I think it would also be valuable to have some commercial in this area. You know, if you were working in this area, you might want to grab a bite to eat, be able to get groceries on the way home, something along those lines. So I think that's always a benefit, a beneficial thing to add in these sorts of areas. The struggle getting workers over here. Unfortunately, because of the location of this, unless we bring in buses, we're really relying on this being kind of a place that people drive to, which I don't love, but it is the setup that we have right now, and I think we're going to focus on transit in a more significant way in a future episode, but that's not now. So another thing that we could, oh boy, fires. Just unlimited fires. And our coverage isn't that bad. It's not great, but it's not that bad. Not so bad that we should have fires everywhere all the time. Maybe I will upgrade this fire station or firehouse to a fire station to try to relieve some of this pressure. That's still not going to help this area all that much. Yeah, I guess that is like the one area that is difficult to reach. So again, I think we might utilize eminent domain. Let's try to use it sparingly. If I could take one house, it's a lot better than taking two. So hopefully that'll improve things in this area a little bit, at least. All right. Yeah, definite need for workers over here. Let's see what we have for bus routes. Yeah, and most of our bus routes right now are really working to get people to tourism areas. So that's not going to be... Well, I guess there's this one route down here that goes to Lewis Shores. I'm reluctant to do what I think I'm going to do, but I might extend this route a little bit further. Bring it into the heart of this industrial area. I'll have limited stops to try to ensure that this route is still I guess, as zippy as it can be. That's a stopgap solution, and that's certainly something that I'm going to need to take a look at in the future, because that's not a great solution. I will readily admit that. So I guess I fear that now the route's doing more than it was intended to do. It's supposed to get these residents down to the downtown area. Now it's getting the downtown residents to their industrial destinations. That's it. In reality, that would be a good thing whenever you're designing a bus route. If you could have it doing something when it's going to the place it's going to pick up people, if it could pick people up in one direction and drop people off in the other, great. Or I guess pick people up in one direction and pick them up in the other direction as well, drop them off where the other people live, that would be beneficial. But that's not always possible. So we'll see if we're just doing a lot with that route more than we actually can or should be. We'll see. All right, so for this, our workers are our limitation. And our residential demand is just now picking up again. Our industrial and commercial demands, they're very high. So what this is crying out for in my mind is obviously industrial and commercial. I think that we could remedy a lot of this in the downtown area. I'm not super excited about doing a whole lot more in the downtown without a bigger plan though. So I might just kind of leave it here for the time being, understanding that we are going to need to do more in the downtown area to keep this going. We did zone a little bit of office over here, but it's not enough to get us where we need to be in terms of remedying some of that industrial demand. And even after building a significant amount of industrial over here, it's just not enough to meet the needs of the city right now. Let's see. So I think we're going to name this the I-10. Oh. So I wish there was a way to quickly switch this from being this industrial specialization to a normal district, but there isn't. Very creative name, the I-10 Industrial Park. I'm mainly putting this here because I want some policies in place to make sure that this is as clean as it can be. And let's take a look at our power and water. We're doing okay there, so I guess I won't worry about those policies just yet. But I am going to worry about industrial space planning. And we also are going to need fire protection out here. Yes, desperately we'll need fire protection out here. Much better. So let's see how things are doing over here. Wow, lots of traffic coming down the stop sign here. Do not. Maybe that's working okay. I'd question that in the future though. But traffic is flowing okay, so I'm not gonna get too crazy about it at this point in time. So we're losing money. I wonder how these districts are doing. A $717 profit or sell profit, and this $1,805. Not great. Still the worker problem. Let's grow it. I said I was going to leave it here. I'm not going to leave it here. I gotta keep going. So I think I know the problem. These medium fields, so they have the fewer freight trucks, fewer workers per field. Interesting. So it's just not, they don't produce as much. It seems like an odd choice to me, but we work within the constraints that we have. I do like the way that they look, so we will do some potatoes here. Actually, I'm going to switch these. We'll continue to do cotton. Kind of want to see how we're doing with our storage at this point. We are in a challenging spot with storage, so I might add additional storage over here. I think a large barn would be beneficial at this point. The other thing that we need to think about is our farm maintenance buildings. Now I'm curious, if I place this at this farm, will it serve both? No, because it's just storage efficiency. Okay, that's good to know. So I think I actually want to use this space a little bit more efficiently than I was. And the way that I'm going to do that, get rid of my road guidelines here. Okay, so the main thing I was thinking is I might be able to fit both of these buildings in this area if I reconfigure, and I was able to, and I like this a lot more. A little bit of a weird traffic jam with this farm building over here, but nothing insurmountable. So that got us up to 4 stars, and we have we're a number of workers away from getting to the next level, I believe. Yeah, we need 800, and we have a max of 7 something at this point. So let's continue to build out our farm. To increase the area size just a little bit, I think we might have some greenhouses back here. So I really want this to be tight in terms of the fit, so I'm going to place that on the wrong road and just kind of spin it around and do the same thing over here. I'll connect those roads up. Very good. Let's make sure this area is served adequately with water. I'll fix this. It's not in the right spot. All right, Ebenezer Howard's dream of a city that has farming in close proximity is about to be realized. Now, I think there's an opportunity to make a path connection here, so I'm going to do that. I'll make that a gravel path so it fits in a little bit better with the rural area out here. Very nice. Now, while I'm waiting for some of this to level up, I could do some landscaping. I might just look and see what I have available to me. So let's look at our factories again. So for lemonade factory, we don't have what we need for that. Printing press, bakery. Okay, we can do a bakery. So we don't want to place that in the collector. Let's keep that close to this area. And this grid is not ideal for what we were doing. This worked. So this grid worked really well when all we were doing over here was trying to load up on some of our industrial uses. I don't think it's ideal right now anymore. So we have some flour. We're gonna need animal products and crops and flour. So I think we might want to give this some thought. So we actually might want to put a large barn over here set to empty. So I personally would greatly prefer the look of a couple silos. I think it looks a little more natural, but I like the efficiency of the larger barn. So we're gonna go with that. Put a couple of them here. Plenty of animal products in there, plenty of crops. This bakery is gonna be cooking. So I am a little bit concerned about our flour production, so I might add an additional flour plant. And we have the ability to place a slaughterhouse now. And that would be another use that would fit in well in this area. So, again, I'm going to extend this industry district over. I think I might just leave that connected. Why not? So we'll have our slaughterhouse over here. And then we're going to need storage for the animal products that it's producing. I might just go all out. So let's load this up with animal products. 50% full. We also need additional storage, or we needed an additional flour mill. Okay, so I made sure to load off this local road. I don't want anything going on the collector if at all possible. So we've got some ugliness going on with the landscape. I don't know that that's really all that avoidable. Might need to do a little bit of landscaping to fix that. Yeah, and this is just without lowering this road. We're going to kind of just be in that situation. So this might be a good spot to have a couple of trees. So I am aware that when you place trees, it removes the fertility of the land. So I don't want to place too many and lower the production rate too much. It looks like it didn't impact anything here, so I think we're going to be okay. Alright, so we should be in a much better spot with both of these farms. We have the potential of hitting 5-star farm, and I think we're going to do it. Or we're going to go backwards. We'll keep bouncing around there. So for this one, again, it's a workers issue. Not enough jobs. There's plenty of crops, animal products. We're taken across the road to this. Wow. Already getting really full there. All right, so everything's operating appropriately. The main problem at this point is just the workers. Oh, we hit 5 stars. So we're in a good spot with Hamilton Plantation. Over here, we are losing money. Over here, we're doing okay. So nothing great. We could certainly stand to optimize some of this. I wonder if we advance our automation, if that improves the output in these areas and the profit. And it looks like it did improve things some. So this pollution is certainly an issue. A bigger pollution negative over here. Now I'm wondering if my splitting negatively impacted this area because this area is polluted. That's unfortunate. I don't know how to fix that short of adding another farm building, creating a separate farm, and kind of fudging it in that way. I wonder. We'll paint another industry area and see how that does. Multiple problems. Oh. Yeah, that's not going to work. The other idea would be to shift all of this pollution to the Myrtle Estate. Interesting. Still have a problem with pollution over here. I don't see it. Let's take a look at our pollution. It should all be focused in this area, but there's still an issue with it. That said, our profit's going up. I'm looking at the combined profit of the districts. We're seeing about 10,000. Well, I guess it's bouncing around. Which, with the industrial areas, they always seem to bounce around like that. It's not something that's unpredictable in that way. Realize though, I don't think I have a storage location for the pastries. Okay, so this will probably help a lot now that I think about it. And it's in close proximity to this cargo train terminal. That said, we would probably be well served to have some sort of storage in this area for general goods. I don't think that we have any. So now we can at least store some of these general goods that we're getting in this warehouse over here. Probably would be good to store some over here as well. Now at least we aren't forcing them to drive all the way over to one of those hubs. And again, while we're looking at this, our other cargo train terminal right here will have a place to put general commercial goods. So hopefully this will improve our access to those goods and maybe depress some of this demand because it's still really high and our residential demand is still not where we'd like to see it, which is really unfortunate. We are filling in our Garden City neighborhood, but there's still significant chunks of land that are undeveloped, and that's because we have this incredible demand for industrial that we had not been able to meet, even with a 5-star farm, a 3-star farm, and an additional industrial area. It's still not good enough. So this is where we're going to leave it today. We're going to have to do something to remedy this in the future. It's probably downtown. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please consider liking it. If you are not yet subscribed, please consider doing so. And if you want to be notified when I release new videos, please hit the notification bell and you will be notified as soon as I do so. I'm going to leave you with a cinematic. We'll take a look at the area that we just created. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.